from 250, it's now 284. So that's about, well over 30,000 in a gain. It's about
Okay.
16.7%. It's
Yeah.
about 16.7% since inception.
Wow. Okay. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your professional background?
So my professional background, I'm a private equity. I'm an operations vice president. So what I essentially do is I look at companies and try to find ways to make them operate efficiently, and if there are ways to reduce duplication or ways to allow them to find new streams of income, just ways to make the companies more profitable and run better. Maybe looking at management, looking at different avenues of entry for expansion or scaling, expansion to different regions. So all those things I do. Prior to that, I was a lobbyist for about 6 years in California. I was in part of a consumer finance company. We had a number of clients. So, and then prior to that, many years ago, I ran arena football teams, sports
Yeah.
franchises throughout the Southeast in Southwest.
Yeah.
And before that, a long time ago, I was a professional athlete. So
Oh,
I've had a pretty
I didn't catch
varied,
that piece.
I was a pretty, it's a pretty varied professional career.
What was your sport of choice?
I played football. I played football. Played played professionally in the National Football League, and then obviously I played in college at Stanford University.
Yeah.
Gave a lot of my life early on to sports. So I think sports brings a lot out of. We can learn a lot about business and learn about ourselves through sports. Teamwork, the ability to get the most out of your own abilities, doing things when no one's watching, preparation for the game, and a lot of times it transfers over to his academic world, and it transfers to. For me, I use a lot of the sports principles I learned back then to how I conduct business and interact with people now.
For you, what was the main motivation for you to, maybe it wasn't passive income for you, but maybe it was for you to see your capital grow a little bit more? What was the main reason for you pursuing something like this?
It was really to see portfolio grow larger than what I was currently getting. 401ks, IRAs, they grow at a modest pace, but you're looking 25 to 30 years down the line to really see any significant growth. And for me, I was looking at things of ways to accelerate that curve, because as I start to look at where I am in life, I see my kids graduating. I have two kids, both high school graduates and college students now. And so, at some point I want to retire and not pay these exorbitant tuitions and begin to enjoy life. And part of that is, yeah, I have a pension, but how much further does that go to continue to maintain the lifestyle that I want for me and my family? So that's what attracted me to ATN. The passive part of it is great because it allows me to continue doing my job and focusing on some of the things I'm doing without really having to devote any time to, putting forth this kind of growth pathway.
Mhm.
So it kind of, you set it and forget it, and there's no better way to describe it than to, once you put the money in and you understand and just kind of I'm just checking it, really. That's all I'm doing is just kind of checking how it's doing, and it's, had a great month last month.
And what have you tried before in terms of, the passive income or making your capital grow a little bit more than, IRAs and 401ks? Have you done anything as far as that's concerned?
Not in terms of things like automation and those things. I've done multi-level marketing. I've done I've invested in cryptocurrency, and I've invested in small businesses. For those, it takes a lot of upfront capital, highly risky, and very volatile. And so for me, I was looking at ways to de-risk, also, having some capital on the side that I could put in, allowed me to say, if I put it in and I can see there's a track record of success, I can almost project out, by this time I'll have this much, and then it'll be worth it. There weren't many things that were promising that didn't require a huge either upfront capital or a huge labor capital
Sure.
investment. So
Yeah. So how did you hear about us? Where like, was there like an ad or a video that you saw that like kind of got you intrigued?
yeah, I saw an ad on my phone. I think I was just scrolling through Instagram, I believe, for something with my son, and I saw ATN. I saw you, and you're describing your family and how you had tried a number of ways to generate income. Many of did not fulfill the promises that they had proposed to offer, and for me, it just seemed like you were a upfront, genuine person, faithful and spiritual person, just really someone that I could relate to and understand. This is someone that's trying to do something for the right reasons in the right way.
Yeah.
So for me, I've always been willing to not just go for something that just in and of itself because it sounds good, but it's really you're investing in the people
Yeah.
behind it. And so when we had that initial conversation, it just confirmed everything I had already kind of thought you were. And so I said, why not? Let's do it.
You are also in the space when you mentioned like kind of business optimization, you also have done like some venture capital or private equity or mergers and acquisitions, any of those specific things?
Absolutely. I still am involved in venture capital. I've been part of uh the first funds of two venture capital firms, and some of them have been successful. But with venture capital, others, you're probably successful maybe 10% of the time, right? Or if you're fortunate, 20% of the time.
Yeah.
But most of the companies that you invest in do not end up launching successfully, and that capital cannot be recouped. Private equity is a little bit different, right? You're putting in money into own private businesses in many cases, helping them navigate business cycles to grow, and hopefully when they grow, you're able to sell them to someone else to make a profit.
Yeah.
That's highly dependent on the business environment, the business climate. Interest rates now are very high, and so borrowing costs are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
So though those don't come to fruition, just based on sometimes the inherent business itself, it depends on the environment by which the business, and those can take years
Yeah.
to be fully executed. So yeah, so I believe casting your bread on the waters many ways, but ATN has been something that has been very successful, very quickly.
Yeah. And the only reason I brought up that, VCNP, kind of past or present as well, is because a lot of it, as far as on a perception side of things, I'm just kind of getting into the VC side of things. And the way that I see it on the surface is it really does matter who that CEO is, what the team looks like, and kind of their, maybe track record or the things that you're able to do as far as due diligence on the owner of that, startup or whatever it would be. So when you mention kind of like, seeing what it is that we offer, that's good, but also like actually having some resonance with me, may played a factor. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, obviously any successful company is going to be largely dependent on the management of that company, right?
Yeah.
The person behind it, the person that has the ideas, the person has the ability to inspire, to leverage and engage people to do things that maybe they don't believe they can do initially, take the company in a direction. So yeah, I mean, that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I mean, as essentially we're a public company, but we operate as a private equity company
Mm,
where I'm in charge of six portfolio companies.
wow.
And so what I do is I'm talking with company presidents and people operating these businesses on a day-to-day basis. And I have to believe that these are the people that I put my trust and faith that they can run these businesses. And in many cases, there's been situations over the years where we've come in to acquire a company, and after a couple of months, we didn't believe that these were the right people to run these companies and had to make changes.
Yeah.
Those are difficult decisions, but it's in the interest of what is going to be best for the business. Similar
Yeah.
to sports, head coaches are maybe great people, but they may not be the right coach for that team to get them to the championship. And so that's part of my job, is to determine and evaluate, do we have the right people in the right places to succeed? And so yeah, I think I'm a pretty good judge and gauge of how people can be successful in leadership positions. So
For you, you evaluate individuals like myself, and even on a maybe a higher scale, so to speak, relatively. What is it maybe that you saw in me or my business operations before you actually jumped in that made you like, okay, this is something I'm comfortable with, taking this risk or taking this opportunity seriously?
well, for starters, I think I took about 6 months before I even made an inquiry into ATN. I looked at you, I checked your background, I checked to see if there were any red flags, any who you associated yourself with. Many of the videos that you have online are with Julio and other customers and people that had already been utilizing the program, and looked at them. And so um, just doing my own due diligence, I saw that number one, it was based in integrity. Number two, it was based in, you had a team of people. You wasn't just one person doing everything, but it's a team of people. Pretty much the diversity of customer that you have tells a story that this is not just a cookie cutter. This is not just, these are not all high level people. These are not all people putting in 6 and 7 figures. These are people that are putting in small amounts, putting in larger amounts, and coming from all different backgrounds. And if they're all saying the same thing, there's something to be said about that. That's our customers are our biggest endorsers, right?
Yeah.
So it would be much harder for me to disbelieve all of these people saying the same thing than to not believe it. So
Yeah.
all those things combined, I think, you talk about not just having the investment side of it, but having the other things, having the ability to network and surround yourself with people that can inspire and challenge you, but also surround yourself with people that can help drive ATN to be the best it can be. Those were all things that I desire and have always wanted to do as well. To be the best athlete I could be, I had to surround myself and train with the
Yeah.
best. To be the best person in business, I had to humble myself and learn from other people. And also to continue to do my job effective every day, I can't just think that I have all the answers. I have to continue to challenge myself to find new information, and also to be able to reach out to people that may be smarter in a certain area than I am, to help me learn what I need to learn to be the best.
Yeah. No, I think a part of it for me as well, and thank you for sharing that. That's good insight for me, and it means a lot coming from, someone with your caliber. Um, what I understand is that, like, my like life philosophies are like to always challenge myself. I've always been a curious individual, so it's easy for me to like be intrigued with something, but fortunately, I've always been intrigued with business and, with finances and with teamwork and leadership. Those are kind of the things that I've been really like, like, oh man, like this is so interesting. That's why I did psychology as a major. And, I care about like how people think and how they work in teams and how they work in organizations and all of those things. So yeah, that's kind of why I do what I do. And then also, I mean, my parents both have their doctorates, and they both were leaders in their own right. My dad, a community leader, as far as being in a pastor for 30 plus years in Cincinnati, and my
Yep.
mom, being the first lady of that organization or that church, but also she worked in a college in Cincy as well. So, those kind of things shape me as far as like me being a person that wants to help and be charitable, be giving, but also be someone who is able to think different. Kind of upbringing was, what their life philosophy is, what their skill sets are, all of those things. And we already know the chances are slim, even for your teammates at Stanford, the chances were slim for them to go to the NFL like you were able to do. But the difference was that the people that you were around on the football team, they also kind of went off to make multiple six figures and things like that. They had a lot of other
Right.
opportunities that were there versus, in other circumstances. So I just wanted to, really be able to take advantage of, private schools that I went to and the exposure that I had as a kid and all of those things. And how was the setup process with Julio?
It was very simple, all in all, it was pretty easy, and he was able to be there and walk me through it. And if I had questions, he was there to respond immediately. And since then, it's been pretty seamless. He was able to answer any questions. I had questions about, insurance, estate planning, and the investments themselves, what types of things were offered or available through under my program, and he was there to answer all of them. So I never felt at any point that I was missing information or lacking clarity in any questions I had, or I could just call him. He said, "Look, just anytime, call me. I'll answer as soon as I can." More times than not, within a few hours or a few minutes, he's there to answer the call. So really, really respect and appreciate you have him in the right role for sure.
On your end maybe makes ATN different than some of the other opportunities that maybe you've looked into or considered, or just being in the space of startups and different businesses? What do you feel like is like an advantage for us?
So I think one of the key advantages that ATN has over other things that I've either done or looked into, the fact that it's passive, the fact that really the investor does nothing as a part as other than once they put their resources in, everything else is done for them. They're just checking to see how much it's grown weekly or monthly or however often they desire to choose it. They can access their own account and they can look at it and take it out. So they have the flexibility. A lot of private equity and venture capital investments are hard investments.
Mm,
They're long investments. They have
illiquid,
three,
yeah.
5 year kind of thresholds where you don't see a return, you don't see a distribution, and then the amount of risk, right? Venture capital is highly risky. As I mentioned at the beginning of our conversation, is you're betting that if you invest in 10 companies, probably three of them may be successful, seven of them may be, just kind of middling, or not even able to get through the full life cycle of the business.
Yeah.
So, the thing that ATN has that it's got a team of people working on it. You've got traders, you've got the investment platform, you've got multiple avenues for people's risk tolerance, and as well as you have the ability to communicate with people and then offer the kind of ancillary services or networking that people would want to inquire about, to not only if they're making money, they want to be able to preserve the money and then keep it making more money and keeping more of the money they've earned. So those are all kind of things that most traditional investments don't offer. They say, well, if you invest in this, this is how much we project to make. They don't tell you that, oh, it's going to take you 5 years, or it's going to
Sure.
take you, or you're not going to have access to your money. You're not going to be able to see any of it. And if you had questions about anything outside of that investment, they're going to be short on answers,
Mm,
or they're going to charge you, or they have somebody that's going to charge you something to give you the answer. I like the holistic approach to ATN, and I like the fact that these are people that are really motivated, and from a varied background, which I think is it's helpful for all of us to learn from things that maybe a different perspective than maybe we grew up with or have in our daily lives.
it represents not only my client base but also my the team that I have around me is really diverse, and so definitely it comes from experience. And so I mean, on your end, Glyn, if you don't mind, could you pull up your account, and do you mind sharing your screen?
Sure, absolutely.
So talk me through it. Like, what did you start with? Was it 240, or what did that look like for
So
you?
so I started with 250. I put 250 in, and I put most of it in the AI PAM first, and then I then later moved it to the most of it. I kept some of it in there just as a comparison, a smaller amount. But from 250, it's now 284. So that's about well over 30,000 in a gain.
Yeah. Yeah, so 250, if it was 10%, that
Well,
would
it's
be,
41. The realized P profit is 41 net of, that's not net of fees, but obviously
yeah,
it's around
gross.
42,000. Yeah.
or sorry, divided by 42 divided by 250.
It's
Okay.
about 16.7%. It's
Yeah.
about 16.7% since inception.
Wow. Okay. And I mean, how do you feel about those type of results?
I feel really, really good about them. In fact, I can't think of any other investments that are doing that right now, especially given the risk taken to get the returns. There's things in crypto, there's things in venture capital, but again, as I say, overall, the aggregate of that is not 16.7% after a few months. The benefit of this is this compounding factor of this is also what I was impressed with. Not only grow 16.7%, but it's going to continue to compound, which makes those returns go even higher as long as I keep, as long as I don't touch it. So yeah, I've been really impressed with it, and it's a great vehicle. And again, I've already shared this with a number of people because now that I've been in it a couple of months, I feel comfortable enough to begin to say, not just talk about what I'm doing, but I don't have to really talk about it, and I can just show them now, right?
Yeah, yeah. And
So
that's the position that we want all of our clients to be in. It's not as a matter of you just saying it and, oh, this is all good and well. We always want you to be in a position to show people exactly what things look like. That's what matters the most. So that's the biggest thing for us is like it's actual client experience. And client experience is what are their actual results. It's tied into it, right? It's not just the customer service. If we're answering the phone or answering your inquiries like within a couple of hours, but we're producing a fraction of that, then it's like, oh, no. But like if
right.
we're doing kind of both, and then we're really delivering the client experience that we want, and it seems as though we're doing it to this point.
Yes, I would say you are, yes.
So in the last 30 days or so, then your account has kind of generated around, if we did around that kind of 9 or 10% in the month of May, then your account would have done maybe around 25 or so $1,000. Does that sound about right?
That's correct. That's correct. I think if I look at what it's done in May, it was 10.8%, almost 11%.
So where would you actually at this point rank ATN compared to some of the other vehicles that you've tried?
It's the best one that I see to deliver those types of returns on a monthly basis. Nothing I'm doing and is going to rival those level of returns, double-digit returns per month, which that's most promise double-digit returns per year, but on a monthly basis, this is head and shoulders above the rest.
From after you were completed with onboarding, how passive have things been for you?
Completely passive. The only thing that I do is I log into the account, check the returns, and that's really all. And if I have questions, I can reach out to Julio, and that's pretty much it. It's been completely hands off the steering wheel.
Based off of your experience, do you feel like ATN or myself is maybe a scam or a scammer at all?
No, no, the fact that we're talking right now would support that it's not a scam. It's people that know me know that I wouldn't be a part of something like that. And obviously I've just showed my account. Why would I have any reason to deceive or be a part of something that I wasn't completely confident in? So yeah, I think that just our world in general is full of people that when things are successful, their immediate reaction is going to be skepticism. But I would say I have had success, and I believe that those who their time and research and their capital into it will not be disappointed.
Well, I mean, that pretty much answers the last question that I was going to have. If somebody's skeptical or maybe has been burned before, is there anything that you would say? But you pretty much said it. Try it if they have the facilities to do it, and it makes sense for them. How we want to be able to facilitate that. Kind of I mentioned to you when we first got connected that down the line, we'll kind of introduce you to the next stages of the membership. We do have our event in September, and that we would love for you to be able to actually be a part of and come in and enjoy yourself with other like-minded individuals. But then also, Julio will be reaching out with a survey just to get more, detail on like how we can serve you more, who, like what type of person we can connect you with, but also what type of person we can connect with you as well with your background and things like that. So that's kind of the next phase. We start off with making sure that our clients are, in a state of, hey, we're we're good. I'm happy with the returns. I'm actually, excited about the returns. But then we introduce that next piece of the network. And so here in the next few days, you'll see that information be sent to you, and we'd love your feedback. And again, we'd love to see you in Phoenix as well.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And definitely will take a look.
Yeah, 100%. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, Glyn. Thanks so much for your time, and we'll talk in the next few weeks again.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. You have a
All right,
great day.
you too.
Thanks.
Bye. So every 30 days, I talk one-on-one with my clients, and that was their experience. If you want to learn more on how we help our clients earn 60% or more per year, then click the link in the description below.